Hey, excuse me. Hi, sorry. Do you speak English?
Yeah.
Oh, did I shock you? I'm sorry.
No, it's all right.
I just saw you walking by. I actually thought you looked really cute. I just wanted to come over and say what's up. I like your vibe.
Oh, thanks. What's your name? I didn't ask you.
Kyle.
I'm not gonna shake your hand again. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we'll do like a fist bump.
Yes. You should ask for a number on my Instagram or something. Okay, well, give me a number.
How do you know if a woman truly wants you? You ever been talking to a girl and it's going well? She's all giddy and happy and smiley around you, but then at some point, she's as cold as a New York winter. Maybe you're out, you just left the gym, you're walking around and you lock eyes with that hot girl and you start thinking to yourself, is now a good time to approach? Oh, I'm kind of sweaty from the gym, or man, there's all these people around. And so you don't even know if you should do it. Or even if you did go up and you had that conversation, when's the right time to actually inject that flirty man to woman vibe? These subtleties could be the sole difference between a hot, fulfilling dating life for a man or another cold, lonely, depressing holiday season if he only knew the specific subtleties that he should be paying attention to. So I want to talk about making the initial approach, how and when to inject that flirtatious man to woman vibe, but then also what to do when she's giving you a neutral response. How can you flip that conversation and still get success in an interaction like that? And I'm actually gonna show you that later on in this video. I'm gonna be demoing these concepts for you live in the field. But first, have you ever heard of choosing signals? All right, there's a lot of coaches out there online that will tell you you need to wait for choosing signals. You can't go up and approach the girl if she's not already looking at you or giving you choosing signals. And I know that this video is titled Pay Attention to the Women That Want You, but the very first thing that I want to show you guys is there are a lot of women that are not giving me choosing signals. They are not looking at me. They have no indication at all that they are into me initially. In a lot of these instances, the women might even be walking the complete opposite direction as me, but I still go up and approach these women and get success. Now, some of these women will respond positively, in which case I know how to carry the conversation. I know when to inject that flirty vibe and can convert these interactions. And I'll show you guys that in just a second. There's also a portion of these women that will respond negatively, and that's totally okay. They will reject me, and that's totally fine. That is not a big deal. And there's also some women that just respond neutral. It's kind of a bland or meh, kind of blase type response, but you can still convert these women too if you know what you're doing. And I'll show you guys that at the end of this video. We'll go from a neutral all the way up to a phone number when it's done properly.
Hey, excuse me. Hi. I was just.
I'm sorry.
You good?
Yeah.
I was actually just walking by. I thought you looked super cute with your like swaggy outfit on and stuff. You're like very casual but like swaggy and shit. I don't know if were you like chilling on the beach or like.
You can get my Instagram if you want. You write your name.
Okay, cool.
Last one.
I'll text you, okay? We'll set something up.
I know a lot of dudes out there are trying to assess as to whether or not the girl's into you on the front end, but the truth is that you don't really know until you actually go up and start the interaction. And I've done this hundreds of times. I've worked with 700 plus dudes one-on-one. I've seen this over and over again. There have been women that seemed really interested in me at a glance. Maybe you've even made eye contact with the girl several times before, and then you went up to the girl and she just still was not into you. She still rejected you. And that is completely normal. But there are also women that are on the opposite side of the spectrum, which they looked like a total bitch up front. They looked very closed off. They looked like they were in a hurry. They did not want to talk, but I still went up to those women, and some of these girls, they completely melted and just lit up the moment I just said hi. So on the front end of things, guys, you cannot just sit back and wait for a choosing signal to assess as to whether or not the girl's into you. I'm calling BS on that one. The truth is that you don't know until you actually go up and start the interaction. And then from there, that's when the actual game starts. Which brings me into the next point, because once we're actually in the interaction, one of the most common questions I get asked by my clients is how or when is the right time to make the interaction flirty? And I can honestly tell you guys, it depends. When you go up and start the interaction, the girl's either gonna respond positively, or she's gonna respond in a neutral type demeanor, or she's gonna be responding negatively when you go up and start the interaction. Now, the more that the girl is responding positively to you, the more receptive she is to you in the interaction, that will determine how flirty or how direct or how to the point you can take your conversation. Now that goes for the beginning of the interaction, like displaying intent off the open. That also goes for injecting more flirtatiousness in the middle of the interaction. That also goes for when it's time to ask the girl out and go for her phone number or ask her out on a date. Meaning if I go up to her to start an interaction and say, hey, excuse me, I was actually just walking by.
How's the smoothie?
Really good.
I'm not gonna lie, I was literally like walking at the food court earlier, and I was like, yo, I need like a boba or some shit.
Now, as I say that, I'm paying attention to the woman. Is her body fully stopped? Is she pivoted and facing towards me? Is she giving me her undivided attention? Is she holding good eye contact? Is she giving me the eyes? Is she smiling? Is she receptive to me initially? Some girls, if you actually just go up to them in a confident way with a smile and say, hey, excuse me, pay attention to that moment. There will be women that are already giving you a green light, but you guys don't even realize it because you're so in your head as to where you're gonna take the interaction that you're actually missing the signals right off of the open. So if she's responding positively and giving me green lights, you could go right into displaying intent and opening in a direct manner. And that would look something like this.
How's the smoothie?
Really good.
I'm not gonna lie, I was literally like walking at the food court earlier, and I was like, yo, I need like a boba or some shit. 2 minutes later, I'm walking by and I see cute girl in this like white outfit, like slurping on a, what do you got?
This is actually
What is it?
904.
904?
So guys, you need to pay attention to the woman because as you're going into open, as you're saying that first sentence, if she looks concerned or she's not positive, it is not the right time to display intent. It's not the right time to start flirting with the girl. It's not the right time to do any form of an escalation. And that's the problem with a lot of men is that when it comes to opening with intent or displaying more flirtatiousness or asking the girl out on a date or getting her phone number, there's different levels of interest that need to be displayed from the girl at each one of these parts of the conversation. And if you're doing any of those prematurely, it's gonna result in resistance or rejection, or the girl just ends up politely declining because she's just not ready. She's not feeling it in that moment. And she might say something like, you're really sweet, but I actually have a boyfriend, or I'm sorry, I just don't give my number out like that. I'm sorry, I don't give my phone number out like that, because you did it too soon. And really quickly, before I get into the next point, I just released my brand new coaching program for 2025. You can now work with me one-on-one. I'm looking for more guys that wanna make a change going into the new year. If that's you, you can apply for the one-on-one directly below this video, fill out the application. More details on that at the end of the video. Let's get into the next point. When you're in the interaction, if the girl responds positively, it's either you do flirt and move it forward, or dudes are afraid to do it and they kind of miss the window, they don't go for it, in which case you gotta get more comfortable and confident with flirting and moving interactions forward. That's for the positive responses. If it's not a positive and it's like a neutral or negative, this is where a lot of good-looking guys will mess up because a lot of dudes, especially the good-looking guys, they wait for choosing signals typically. And now when they go up into an interaction and the girl's not responding with massive green lights like they're used to, they start to really get in their head. You ever go up to a girl and it's not going super well, but it's not negative, it's just neutral. And guys freak out because it's not going super good. And now they start to panic and you end up ejecting, even though if you had just played it right, you could have still converted that interaction. And honestly, in my opinion, the more attractive girls, the sets are not gonna just fly open because they're a little bit skeptical up front, as they should be. The hotter the girl, the higher quality the girl, the more skeptical they're gonna be up front, and that's okay. You just need to know what to do when it's a neutral. Well, the short answer is that you do not escalate. But that's kind of a complicated answer. Let me explain. Because by do not escalate, I mean you don't display intent, you don't flirt, you don't ask too many questions, you don't even go for a name introduction. That is still a micro escalation that you want to avoid doing, especially if the girl gave you a negative or a neutral response. You only escalate off of high points in an interaction. So if you open and she gives a concerned or confused look, it is not the right time to escalate. If anything, you need to be able to stay calm, not freak out in that moment, because that's what a lot of dudes will do. The girl's like neutral or negative and you start freaking out. You need to be able to stay calm and maybe even say something like, hey, I know this is a little random, or you could even in a laughing way say, I didn't mean to startle you.
Oh, did that shock you? I'm sorry.
That's all right.
And then I would say, I actually have to get going, but I was just walking by and I saw you in the all black and I thought to myself, oh, she might be fun and interesting, but I don't know. So I wanted to come meet you really quick. And then from there, you could ask a question like, are you from here or what ethnicity are you? And I want to break this down as to why this is actually a really good answer that you could say in the science behind it. Because understand, if the girl is concerned or confused or not responding positively initially, we need to disarm her concern. We need to show her that we're not creepy, we're not a threat, we're not some thirsty ass dude, we're a normal, cool, calm, confident dude that understands her. And that's what will actually disarm her and bring her back to a normal level where we could actually have a conversation from there. That's how you'll actually be able to flip an interaction. And so by me saying, hey, I know this is a little random, or even laughing and saying, I didn't mean to startle you, it shows her, I get it. I get your situation. I'm not here to make you uncomfortable. That's the first point. Then I said, I actually have to get going, which means, hey, I'm not gonna stay here and be this creepy dude that follows you around. I'm actually just like a normal, chill dude. That's what that sentence says. So both of those opening sentences actually disarm the girl, and that's a calibrated response to her negative/neutral initial response to us. And so when you can adjust off of the open and disarm the girl and not over-escalate and show her you're cool, calm, charismatic, and carry a conversation, that's how you could start to flip a neutral into a little bit of a conversation. And then you're gonna need to slowly crank up the interaction like a volume knob. This is not a light switch where you just go all in and she's either about it or she's not. You need to understand that this is a neutral, slightly negative response initially. So we need to disarm her, then have a couple sentences without putting too much pressure on her, without over escalating on her. And then from there, we could get into a further interaction. Kind of like this interaction I'll show you right now. This girl pretty much just says thank you to the first 3 things that I say.
Hey, excuse me. Hi. Could I just say really quickly, I thought you looked very cute and fashionable. I noticed you had like the matching little 2-piece on, and you're like very, very cute and petite. How's your day going?
I don't freak out about it. I don't wait for there to be awkward silences. I just assume the burden. I keep carrying the conversation. I then walk with her for a minute, and later on, once the volume has been turned up slightly, I stop her and we actually have a longer interaction, and then I inject more flirtations, and then I end up actually getting a phone number that could lead to a date.
Maybe we could do something this weekend or like Thursday, Friday. You down? 973?
So yes, pay attention to the women that want you, but it's probably not the way that you think. I'm not saying to wait for the choosing signals on the front end, because the truth is most of the women are not going to show you choosing signals. Yes, there are some, but majority of which are not going to be looking at you or just throwing it at you. It's on you to go up and start the interaction. But then the other part is pay attention to the girl when you're in conversation. The girls will actually show you exactly where they're at in the conversation, and then it's just up to you to recognize the signals and move the conversation forward accordingly, okay? And obviously there is subtleties in that skill set. So if you wanna get better with your conversation skills, you can check out this video right here. Or if you wanna work with me one-on-one, I have a brand new coaching program for 2025. It's the new year. If you're ready to get the social confidence and dating life you've always wanted, you can work with me one-on-one. All right, click the button down below and apply for that brand new coaching program. That's all for this video, guys. Peace out.